Hello, everybody. Hey, this is going to be a video on a little review of what you're going to see on quiz 7.5. Okay, so review quiz 7.5. Now, although you guys, there are maybe 2 or 3 questions that require some math. There's 15 questions total. Most of these questions are going to be a result of definitions and understanding of the concepts, okay, of forces, okay? So you want to know what the definition of a force is, a push or a pull, okay? There's 2 types. There's contact and field. Okay, contact obviously is when they're touching, and a field force is when there is a force at a distance caused by a force field. Most notably gravity. So if I drop this, gravity is a force field. Electromagnetism is also a force field. Okay. We are also going to talk about, or you're going to have to deal with F equals ma, okay, which is Newton's second law. Now, we are, although we are talking about Newton's second law, there are not any questions on the quiz on Newton's first and third law. So we will have a quiz next week that will talk about questions regarding Newton's first and third law, as well as Newton's second law. Okay, so now remember, if you have F equals ma, that means F divided by m is equal to a. You guys, sort of simple algebra there. And then you have F over a is equal to m. Okay, so these are the 3 different algebraic varieties of Newton's second law. So I could give you, let's say, a mass of 5 and an acceleration of 2, and say, what is the net force? What is the net force? And you would just say 5 times 2, and that would be 10. That would be 10 newtons. Okay, you guys make sure you know what your units are. So for example, force has a unit of newtons, okay? Mass has a unit of kilogram. Acceleration has a unit of meters per second squared. And you got that sort of thing, okay? So when we are looking at a free body diagram, okay, now remember, a free body diagram, if you have, for example, an object 1 kilogram here, and it's on some surface, and we have an applied force of, let's say, 10, and we have a frictional force that's equal to 5. So notice that right here, that 10 newtons of force is acting to the right, and that frictional force is acting to the left. Because they are vectors, they have a particular direction. We also have the weight. Okay, now remember, the force of gravity is the weight. And if you had to calculate that, you would say the mass times gravity. Okay, and then we are finally going to have the normal force, okay, or F of n. And F of n is the perpendicular force caused by a surface, okay? So if you had a surface that was at an angle, okay, and you had an object, the normal force would be going perpendicular to the surface. Now, probably most of what we will concentrate on in this class is if you have a flat surface. So What is a net force? Okay, that's the sum of all the forces. Okay, where you want to add them up. And if the sum of all the forces adds up to 0, okay, that is going to be a balanced force, and that will result in no acceleration. That will result in no acceleration. If you have you add up all your forces and they are unbalanced, then you can you will have an acceleration. Now remember, an acceleration can do 3 things. Okay, it can speed an object up, slow it down, or change direction. Okay, now you guys, if we look at here, our net force up and down would be 0, because if an object is just sitting on the ground or or a table or something, it's not going to move this way. But we have a 10 Newton force to the right and a 5 Newton force to the left. That means that would result in a net force of 5 newtons to the right. Okay. All right, you guys, I think that kind of covers it. You want to go and look at all of your notes and go from there.